One of them I'll show you at the end of the shiur, toward the end of the shiur, and I'll give everyone an opportunity to use one of the sites that I chose for learning Tanakh. It's just an incredible thing if you think about it. In our generation, Divrei Torah are flying in the air. We can't see them, we can't hear them, but if we click into them, we can find them. It's all around us. It's Zman HaGula. Divrei Torah are flying in the air. So anyway, these are the things that we're going to be learning in this particular lesson. So let's go. Okay, the book of Ovadia. Here we go. An in-depth look at the nation of Edom. Okay, how are we going to learn Tanakh in this course? The first rule is our learning will be text-based. I could take the next 4 weeks or the next 4 months showing you all the different Midrashim which talk about Edom and all the different Gemarot which talk about Edom. That could be very interesting. But I was taught to learn the Torah as a text-based method, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be focusing on texts, and our learning, therefore, will be literary and not literal. What's the difference between literary and literal? A lot of people mistake literary and literal. Literary means it means having to do with literature. We'll be discussing the structure of the text. We'll be discussing the words, the nuance of the language, why this prophet uses these particular words. We'll be talking a lot about structure, and literal means an exact rendition of something without any exaggeration, without any embellishment. That's literal. We're not going to be studying literal Torah. We're going to be studying literary method. It's kind of funny. A lot of people make a mistake. They say the word literal incorrectly. For instance, I was literally on the floor with laughter. Really? I hope it was a carpeted floor. I hope it wasn't tiles. If you're literally on the floor with laughter, it means without any exaggeration, without any embellishment, you were lying on the floor laughing. Okay? I have a story by my niece. I have a niece who lives in San Francisco. Her name is Deborah, and she told me this story about how she was in a parking lot in San Francisco, and some guy went through the parking lot the wrong direction, cut her off, and went and parked in her spot. And she says, this guy was literally a schmuck. Really? That should be interesting. He might have done something not nice, might have done something wrong, but I don't think he was literally a schmuck. Okay, so we're going to be delving into literary study of Tanakh and not literal. Okay, the next thing is something about the prophets. General thing about prophets in the Tanakh is that each prophet essentially says his prophecy for his generation. The prophecies that are written down in the Tanakh, it says in the Gemara that a prophecy which is for all the generations were actually written down. There are thousands of prophecies that we don't even know about. The ones that are written down were for all generations, but essentially they're written for that particular generation. For instance, when Yaakov Avinu gathers his sons and says, okay, it's not talking about 2,000 years later. It's talking about what's going to happen to Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda when they come into Eretz Canaan. Who's going to get which portion of the land? So his prophecy was for, even though it says Acharit Yamim, it was for the near future. And each of the prophets talk about what's probably going to happen, what Hashem is telling you would happen in again, another 70 years, or the lifetime of the prophet. So that's so one of the things we're going to be trying to do is take Ovadia, the prophet, and place him in a historical context. When exactly did he give his prophecy? Because it's not written in Sefer Ovadia. The next thing we do is we're going to be studying in a way which is interdisciplinary. The Torah is something which is holistic. And our study of history and archaeology and science and geology and literature can add to our understanding of the Torah text. So here we go. About the book. The entire book of Sefer Ovadia, if anyone wants to talk, bavakasha. You don't have to turn off your microphone. The entire book of Sefer Ovadia is only 21 psukim. 21 psukim. It is the shortest book in the entire Tanakh. Wow, 21 psukim. Why? We have you 4 shiurim on 21 psukim. I can learn 21 psukim in 5 minutes and do the Rashis in another 15 minutes. 21 psukim. But the truth is that Sefer Ovadia, the fact that it talks about Esav and Edom, really the content of the book spans almost all of Jewish history. From the time of the children fighting in Rivka's womb to Yibiyat Mashiach, right? Because if Ovadia is talking about Edom, so we're talking about Esav, and Esav eventually turns into Edom, and then eventually, and Edom is found in all sorts of different books. He's found in the Torah and in Nevi'im. He's found in Sefer Shmuel. David fights against the Edomim, David and Yoav. Sefer Melechim, Amatzia fights against the Edomim. Sefer Tehillim mentions the Edomim. Sefer Yirmiyahu will be delving into that in depth because the text of Sefer Yirmiyahu is parts of it are word for word exactly the same as Sefer Ovadia. Yechezkel prophecies about the end of Edom. Divrei Hayamim talks about what comes, and then Chazal, forget it. Chazal, they go to town on Edom. Chazal say Edom is Rome. Rome is Christianity, and our battle between Yaakov and Esav is the battle between Christianity and Judaism. So it happens. It takes place not only in the past, not only all to the present. We just got through Hanukkah, and Ma'oz Sur Yeshuati. We talk about all the different nations. The last paragraph in Ma'oz Sur, we say, Techei Admon B'tzel Salmon. Mize Admon Edom. So even today, we're talking about the Mashiach. The Mashiach is going to come, and Doche Admon is going to he's going to push Edom into Gehinnom. Doche Admon B'tzel Salmon. Esav is Edom. Okay. Next thing. Sefer Ovadia is part of the 12 minor prophets. They're not minor because they're not important. They're minor because the books are very small. So one of the things we have to do is we have to say, okay, get our bearings straight. Okay. Well, when we talk about when we ever start a new book, we say, okay, where is it in the Tanakh? Okay. If I want to start, here's my book. If I want to start flipping through the Tanakh, okay, where do I find Sefer Ovadia? Where do we get our bearings? You are here. Okay, so here are the books. So how do we know we have 24 books of the Tanakh? The Makor is in, the source is in Sefer Shemot. Moshe is at Har Sinai, he gets the Luchot Brit, and the Pasuk says, Vayiten el Moshe kichaloto ledeber ito b'Har Sinai, shnei Luchot ha'edut. So Moshe is about to bring the Luchot Brit down from Har Sinai, but the interesting word here, I'll mark it, whoops, get it wrong. The interesting word here is kichaloto. Kechaloto, the meaning of the word is when he finished. Vayiten el Moshe, talking about Hashem. Hashem gave to Moshe. Kechaloto lideberito, when he finished speaking with him on Har Sinai. Shnei luchot ha'edut, 2 tablets, luchot even, stone tablets, ketuvim be'etzbei Elohim, which were written with the finger of God. So it says kechaloto when he finished. But if you notice, the word kaloto is missing a vav. So if you read the word kaloto without the vav, it could be kalato. See the picture?
We're not seeing.
This
We're not
is
seeing screens. Are you
what?
sharing the text with us? We're not seeing the text if you're sharing it with us.
Say it again?
I said if you're sharing the text with us, we're not seeing it.
You don't see it on the screen?
No, we see what we'll be discussing in this lesson.
Oy, oy, oy. Wait a second. So you missed that whole thing. Hi, I'm back. You missed that whole thing? All right, I'll do share screen again.
I thought it was just my computer.
Here we go. This is what we did, okay? Here we are. You see it now?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, we started here. Wow, what a fashla. We started here. The book of Ovadia. We went to here. About the method. We're text-based learning. It's literary, not literal. It's historical. We're going to put Ovadia in a historical context. It's interdisciplinary. We're going to use lots of different fields of study in order to understand the biblical text. Okay, now about the book. The book is only 21 psukim. Wow, I said all this without the screen. Look at that. Only 21 psukim. Why are we reading a book of 21 psukim? Because it spans the entire history of the Jewish people, right? From Yaakov and Esav in the womb of Rachel until Yemot Mashiach, right? And all these different books, they talk about Edom, okay? From Breshit until Chazal, okay? They all talk about Edom. Chazal goes to town about Edom because Chazal is living in Galut Edom. They are living in the Kufa of the Romans, and they equate Edom with Rome. And so they talk about the destruction of Edom constantly. And as Yaakov rises, Israel rises, Edom will fall. If Edom rises, Israel will fall. This is all Divrei Chazal. So even to our day, we have Maoz Tzur, and the last parak of the last stanza of Maoz Tzur, it says, Deche Admon. Admon is Edom because he's Admoni. Deche Admon b'tzel Salmon. We're going to push Edom into Gehinnom. There you go. Now, it's part of the 12 minor prophets. Okay, the 12 minor prophets, it's speeding up here because we lost some time. The 12 minor prophets are not minor because they're not important. They're minor because the books are very small. So we have to find out, we have to get our bearings. Whenever we study a new book, here's my book. Whenever we study a new book, we have to say, okay, where is that book in relation to all the books in the Tanakh? So we have to get our bearings and say for Ovadia, where is it? Okay, so the Tanakh has 24 books. And here is the source for the 24 books of the Tanakh. It says in Sefer Shmot, when Moshe was at Har Sinai, getting the Torah, Vayiten el Moshe kichaloto lideber ito b'Har Sinai, shnei luchot ha'idut, luchot even ketuvim be'etzbei Elohim. What does it mean? It means that Hashem gave Moshe, Vayiten el Moshe, kichaloto lideber ito b'Har Sinai, when he finished speaking with him in Har Sinai, shnei luchot ha'idut, 2 tablets of the covenant, luchot even, stone tablets, ketuvim be'etzbei Elohim. Akshav, if you want to see now, written with the finger of God. Now, if you want to see something interesting, look at the word kichaloto. Kichaloto is spelled chaser, without a vav. See the kala? See Rashi? That's the source for Rashi, his famous Pirush on the Torah, on this pasuk. Kichaloto, he even says, Kativ Chaser. It's without a vav. Shenimtzara lo Torah b'matana. Kichala l'chatan. Hashem had to give Moshe the Torah like a gift, like a kalat l'chatan. It's all ready. Why? Shelo haya yochol lilmod kula b'zman mu'at kazeh. because it takes a lot more than 40 days and 40 nights to learn the entire Torah. So Hashem, when he gave him the Torah, he gave it like a kala l'chatan, like a matana, already, with the dress and the veil and everything, and she's all ready to get married. Okay, that's the first Perush in Rashi. Rashi then says, Dvar acher, okay, second Perush, ma kala mitkashetet bekaf daled kishutim, just like a kala is adorned with 24 different ornaments, jewelry, okay? And then, why does he say that they're adorned with 24 different types of jewelry? Because there's a pasuk in Sefer Yeshayahu which describes the kala and her jewelry, and she's adorned with 24 different types of jewelry. I don't have time to skip over to Yeshayahu at the moment, but it says, just like a kala is adorned with 24 different types of jewelry, so too, af Talmid Chacham tzrich liot baki bekaf daled sfarim. A real Talmid Chacham, it's not enough to learn Gemara. He has to be an expert in the kaf daled sfarim, 24 books of the Tanakh. So here they are. These are the 24 books of the Tanakh. I'm sure most of you know this already, but let's just go through the list. Hamishachim Shei Torah. Let's hear it. I'm waiting. This is the easy part. Anybody?
Hamishachim Shei Torah, there's 5.
Breshit, Shmot, Vayikra, Midbar, Devarim. Okay, it gets harder. Okay. Next, Nevi'im Roshanim. Anyone?
Yeshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, Aleph, and Bet.
Shmuel,
Malachim. Malachim.
Melachim, Yefeh. Yoshua, Shoftim, Shmuel, Melachim. The division between Shmuel Aleph and Shmuel Bet was done by the Goyim. Also, same too with Melachim Aleph, Melachim Bet was done by the Goyim. Next, Nevi'im Achronim. Mishu? Anybody?
Yeshaya,
Yefeh, Yeshayahu.
Yeshaya, Yirmiyahu, I should know all these. Hosea,
Yefeh. Sipporah, Yefeh. Yeshayahu.
there's one more though.
Okay, the 3 big ones. The 3 big ones are Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, and Yechezkel. Those are the 3 big ones.
And
Okay, good. You say Hosea.
is it Mika?
Micha, very good. Okay, but we surpassed the 4. How can we have 6? It's only 4. Uh-oh. What about Yonah? What about Micha? What about Malachi, Zechariah, Chagai, Habakkuk? What about all those books? Hey, how can we stop at 4?
Some of them are
I'll tell you
books.
why. Some of them are books. They're all books. Even Ovadia, which is only 21 lines, is a book. Okay, so I'll tell you the secret. The secret is Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, Yechezkel, and Tzfat. Tzfat are 12 books in one. It's considered one book of the 24 books of the Tanakh. 12 books in one. And those together are Nevi'im Acharonim, the latter prophets. Not the latter prophets, the latter prophets. Okay, now pay attention that the word Acharonim, I put in parentheses, I put in quotes, okay, because I'll show you that it's not really Acharonim. What did you say?
Why is it Treasar?
Treasar is Aramaic for 12.
Oh, it is. I thought it was 13.
No, Treasar, the secret in Aramaic is Tre is 2, Tlat is 3. We know this because if you have a toddler on a tricycle, in Hebrew it's called a Tlat Ofan, 3 wheels, Tlat Ofan. Okay, so 13 would be Tlesar, whereas 12 is Treasar. Okay, so here we go. Next, Megillot. Anybody?
Esther,
Esther, that's one.
Ruth.
Ruth,
Ruth, it's two.
Echa,
Eicha, three.
Shir Hashirim.
Four. Last
Yonah.
one.
Yonah,
Yonah.
Yonah is not a Megillah.
Oh, Ecclesiastes?
We read it on Shabbat, Chol Moed Pesach.
Ecclesiastes?
Kohelet.
Go
Very
ahead.
good. You know it in English. Very good. Kohelet. Very good. Okay, so then we get to five. Sifrei Emet. Emet? Everything is Emet. Wasn't Sifrei Emet? Everything is Emet. Here we go. Eov, Mishlei, Tehillim. Three. Eov, Mishlei, Tehillim. We've already out of, once we finish the Nevi'im Achronim, we're already out of the section of Nevi'im, and we're in the section of Ketuvim. Okay, there's not Nevuah. Even Daniel, who has all these dreams and prophecies of the future, it's not prophecy, it's not Nevuah. We're no longer in the Nevi'im, we're now in the Ketuvim. 5 Megillot, 3 Sifrei Emet, Eov, Mishlei, Tehillim, Sefer Daniel, and Ezra Nehemiah is considered one book. And Divrei HaYamim, even though we have Divrei Aleph, Divrei Yamim Bet, it's considered one book. It was divided into Aleph and Bet by the Goyim. And here are the 12 minor prophets. Once again, they're not minor because they're not important. They're minor because they're short. As opposed to Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, Yechezkel, which are long books, the 12 minor prophets are very short. Ovadia, number 4, is the shortest, 21 lines. The entire book is 21 lines.
In Hebrew? What are the minor prophets?
Treyasar.
So we just
It's
translate
called
as minor?
the Treyasar. What?
Who added the word minor?
That's how they translate it into English, but it's not what they say in Hebrew.
Shalom.
In Hebrew, they call it Treyasar.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. These are the 12 minor prophets: Hosea, Yoel, Amos, Ovadia. Here we are. Number 4. We are here. Ovadia. Yonah, Micha, Nahum, Habakkuk, Tzefaniah, Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi. Akshav, why are all these books considered one? Ovadia is nothing like Sefer Malachi. Yonah is nothing like Sefer Hosea. Why are they considered one book? I'll tell you. Because they were so short, it says in the Gemara that they were afraid that these prophecies would be lost. And so they put them all together in one scroll in order to preserve them for the generations. And so what was once upon a time 12 separate books became the Treyasar, the one book called the Treyasar, all in one. Okay, so that's why we have this nice piece of cloth with everything put together. I don't know if it's a picture of the Treyasar or not, but that's how the Treyasar became considered one book in terms of the 24 books of the Tanakh. And now I told you that Nevi'im Achronim, the latter prophets, I put in quotes because they're not really Nevi'im Achronim. In terms of chronology, okay, all of these Nevi'im, 1 until 9, they all happened before the destruction of the temple. We're talking about the first temple in Sefer Melachim. Sefer Melachim ends with the destruction of the temple. Yeshayahu he prophesied at the times of Chizkiyahu Melech. Yirmiyahu, he was the prophet of the destruction of the temple. He saw with his own eyes the destruction. And Yechezkel lived in Bavel. He was exiled with Yehoiachin to Bavel, and he also prophesied the destruction of the Holy Temple, the first temple. So all of these 9 prophets they coincide chronologically with the end of Sefer Melachim. So they're not really Nevi'im Achronim. Who are the Nevi'im Achronim? These 3. Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi. Why? Because after the temple was destroyed and the Jews of Yehudah were sent to Bavel, we were in Galut Bavel for 70 years. Bavel turned into Paras, And Koresh came and gave a decree that the Jews could come back to the land of Israel and build their holy temple with Ezra and Nehemiah. And so here we go. The prophets who prophesied during the return to Zion, Shivat Zion, were Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. And so these prophets were really the latter prophets, okay? And not the first 9. So, now, the whole book of Ovadia is only prophecy. Now we get the chance to use the chat button. You know how to use the chat button? Okay, can you think of any prophets who, besides the essential thing of a prophecy is Dvar Hashem, what Hashem says through the voice of the prophet. But can you think of any prophets who did stuff besides speaking Dvar Hashem? Anybody?
By speaking, Tasha?
Prophets who did things which was not just speaking.
Moshe Rabbeinu smashed the luchos.
Moshe Rabbeinu, beautiful. Moshe Rabbeinu, perfect example. Moshe Rabbeinu hits the rock. Moshe Rabbeinu parts the sea. Moshe Rabbeinu did a lot of things, right? Besides speaking Dvar Hashem, the entire Chamisha Chumshei Torah are the Divrei Moshe Rabbeinu, but he did a lot of things. Anybody else? No?
Torah led a war.
What about Shmuel? What about Shmuel HaNevi? Anybody know about Shmuel HaNevi?
Picked a king.
Okay, he picked a king. He went. He was considered a shofet. He went out to war. Yirmiyahu. Anybody learn Yirmiyahu? Yirmiyahu did lots of things. He went into Gabe and Hinnom and picked up a giant clay vessel and smashed it in the valley of Gehinnom. No, nobody. He did lots of things. He wore a linen garment and then put a belt on it and stuffed it inside of a rock and waited for it to go smelly and then he put it back on. All sorts of things that prophets did. We know lots of things about the prophet. These are things called. It's called in Hebrew. Forget it. These are things called Maaseh Simli, when a prophet does an action which the prophecy is based upon. Anyway, Ovadia has no action. All we have are his words. We don't know anything about Ovadia. We know anything about what he did. We don't know anything about where he lived, where he came from, nothing. Only his words. And so, about the prophet Ovadia himself as a person, we know absolutely nothing. Okay, and we have to, so therefore it's a difficult task to try to place him into the framework of Jewish history in the Tanakh. Where exactly did Ovadia say his prophecy? Because it doesn't say. A lot of prophets, they do say, okay, but this particular prophet, it doesn't say. So we're gonna have a task to do, putting him into his historical perspective. Just Derech Hagav, can anyone think of a prophet who we see he dies?
After he died.
Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, obviously. Anybody else?
Shmuel?
Zechariah.
Who? Zechariah.
He was
I
stoned.
don't
Was he
say.
stoned?
I don't think it says Zechariah died in Sefer Zechariah.
Wasn't he stoned? It's not the same Zechariah in Sefer Shmuel or Melachim that he was stoned?
Oh, that's a different Zechariah. That's not Zechariah the prophet.
Well, they actually all died. If you think about it.
Except
Okay,
for-
that's Zechariah the prophet. Okay, you're right. It's Zechariah the prophet, but it's not Zechariah the prophet that wrote Sefer Zechariah. The very fact that he lived in the times of the Melachim, he can't be the prophet who wrote Sefer Zechariah because the prophet who wrote Sefer Zechariah lived in the time of Shivat Zion. Two different Zechariahs. We have also Ovadia. There's several different Ovadias in the Torah. There's an Ovadia in the Sefer Melachim, and there's Ovadia in Sefer Shmuel, but they're not the same Ovadia of Sefer Ovadia. Okay, Shmuel. Okay, talks about Shmuel dies. Eliyahu Navi is taken up in his flaming chariot into the heavens. Okay, we don't know if he died or not, right? That's why we're always talking about Eliyahu Navi coming back, because we never see that he died. Which prophets we know their entire life from the moment they're born to the moment they die? There's two.
Moel.
Well,
More? Who else? Shmuel, Yefemiod. First of all, Shmuel from Tfilat Hana. Tfilat Ever Moshe Rabbeinu, very good. Tfilat Hana, and Hana has her baby, and Penina, they go to get, and Elkanah, okay, until Shmuel dies. Very good. Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe was born. Vayikach Ish Beit Levi, okay, Evat Levi, okay, but Tereo Kitov. Okay, we know Moshe from when he was a little baby, growing up in Beit Paro, until he becomes a Nar, kills the Mitzri, runs to Midian. We know his entire life. About the prophet Ovadia himself, as a person, we know nothing. Doesn't say when he was born, doesn't say when he died, doesn't say what he did, nothing. All we have is his prophecy. Well, I had some great things I wanted to do with you guys. Let's see if we have. Okay, the focus is I told you this, the focus of the book of Ovadia is the nation of Edom. And now we get to play. Who wants to play? Raise your hand. Who wants to be the mouse? Okay, Judy is the mouse. You don't even have to be a mouse because wait a second. Here we go. Okay, surrounding nations. We ready?
Ready.
Who can identify the surrounding nations of Sefer Ovadia? Why is it important? Because we want to find Edom. What you have to do is you have to take the point and you have to move it over the circle, which is the correct place of that nation. Go ahead, Judy, you're on.
Haradom? Not a clue.
Not a clue. Anything?
I'm not.
Start with something you know. Yerushalayim. Start with Yerushalayim.
So, ask the question again. I didn't understand.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start with you. Yerushalayim. Here's Yerushalayim. I need to take Yerushalayim
Oh, no.
and match it to Yerushalayim. There you go. Next.
We're not seeing Yerushalayim. We're seeing Haradom.
What?
We're not seeing Yerushalayim.
Wait a second. You don't see this?
No.
See Haradom.
You don't see my game? Okay. There you go. Let's try this again. You don't see the game.
Just in the beginning.
No, not at all.
Here we go. Try this. Now you see the game?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. Here I am talking and talking. You don't even see the game. Here we go. Now you see the game. You have to. Okay, I'll show you what we do. Here's Yerushalayim. You have to take the point and move it to the proper place. Okay. Go ahead. You're right. Judy, here you go.
All right, I'm gonna try Moab.
Moab, go for it.
It's not going though. It's not.
Okay, you have to take your mouse, click it on the Moab point.
Doing that.
You can, right?
I'm clicking. It's not moving.
It doesn't click? All right, okay, fine, forget it. Here we go, Moab.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Moab is located between Nachal Zared and Nachal Arnon. That's the nation of Moab. Okay, where we go, Hatzor. Anybody? Direct me. Up or down?
North.
Up,
North.
up, up, up. Uh-oh. Where now? Where's Hatzor? To the right. Here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
is the same hot
Yeah.
sun that we have near.
Yes, it's the same Hatzor.
Try that.
Well,
Hatzor. Okay, next.
it would be in
Eretz, please team. Direct me. Up or down?
To least you're on the
They'd be
coast.
near Rosh Pina, so that's sort
Up or
of
down, up or down, up or down. Please team, up or down?
down.
Down, down,
Down.
down.
Down here?
On the coast.
Please
Yeah,
team?
somewhere in that area.
Yofi. Okay, next. Sidon. Sidon, up or down?
Syria.
All the way to Syria, right.
Okay, close. Up or down?
On the coast.
Up?
Up.
Sidon? Here?
Yeah,
Okay, next. Ammon. Wait, let's do Bashan. Bashan.
in the
Up or down?
In the Golan.
Yefei. Bashan is the Tanakh name for what we call the Ramat Golan. Very good. Ammon.
Ammon is the.
We have two choices. Here or here? Which one's Ammon?
higher one.
It's
This
put
one?
Yeah.
capital in.
Yeah,
Okay. Edom.
they're the only one left.
Okay, we're sure? We're sure about our answers?
Yeah.
Submit?
Say
Edom's in Rome. It wouldn't be on this
Very
map.
good. Okay, Yofi. Good job. Okay, so now we know where Edom is. I will stop the share. I'll come back to class. Okay, so that was the game of geography. Now that we know where Edom is, let's learn a little bit about Esav and Edom. Here we go. I got to do this again. Shared screen. Go back to my PowerPoint presentation. All right, Edom. That's where we were, right?
Yes.
Yofi. Okay. Wait. We did that. Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Is the Haftorah for Parshat Vayishlach. So here we go. Now we're getting into the depth of the beginning, the background, the beginning of Sefer Ovadia. It all starts with Yaakov and Esav. Are Yaakov and Esav brothers, or are Yaakov and Esav enemies? So it all starts in the womb. In the womb. Everyone knows the Midrash. V'yitwatetzu abanim b'kirba. Ken? V'yidrosh et Hashem. Lama ze anochi? V'telech lidrosh et Hashem. Right? We're talking about Rachel. Rachel went to ask Hashem, what is going on in my womb? And Hashem gives Rachel a prophecy. Rivka, you're right, Rivka. So Rivka says, what is going on in my womb? And Hashem gives her a prophecy. He says, like, can you see this? Can you see this? Can you see this? Yofi. Vayomer Adonai la, shnei goyim bevitnech, u'shnei le'omim mime'ayich yiparedu, u'le'om mile'om ye'ematz, v'rav ya'avod tza'ir. That is the prophecy. Wow. What does this mean? Is this going to happen today? Wow. So here we go. We have this battle between two nations. But when did Esav, the person, become Edom, the nation? Okay.
When he
So
started
first of
hunting,
all, when he
because
started hunting,
because
Why?
bloody.
maybe, okay. The Chazal don't like Esav at all. They really don't like Esav. Esav can't do anything right. He's a murderer and he's a thief and he's a liar and he's terrible. Esav they don't like the fact that he's a hunter. Can't do anything right, Esav. But if we look at Pshuto Shemikra, right? The difference between Yaakov and Esav is Yaakov is Ish Tam Yoshev Olim. He is a he's a shepherd. He's an Ish Tam Yoshev Olim. Chazal says Ole Sheva Ever. Aval Pshuto Shemikra, Yoshev Olim is a shepherd, just like it says Yoshev Ohel Mikneh, the Sefer Breshit. And it says about Esav, Shuhu Ish Sadeh, a kavanah. He's a farmer. It's very similar to Kain veHevel, right? Where Hevel was a Hevel was a shepherd, and Cain was a farmer, and Hevel brought mi bechorot zono, and Cain brought mi perotav. It's very similar. Here we have Yaakov and Esav. Yaakov, who is a shepherd, Esav, who is a farmer. He's also a Yodeh Tzayid, okay? And he was excelled in the mitzvah of Kibud Av. But when he was, hello, when he was trapping animals and hunting animals and bringing them to his father, someone's making a lot of noise. When he was trapping and hunting animals and bringing them to his father, was he doing it as a nation or was he doing it as a son? Was he doing it as Edom or was he doing it as Esav? And you want to make the connection between Edom and blood because blood is red, I understand. But according to Pshuta B'Shemikra, he was a son honoring his father. So here we go. When was that switch? First of all, we see that in the selling of the birthright, Esav comes back from hunting and he was tired and he was hungry, and Yaakov was cooking Nazid Adashim, and Esav says, Chaliteni na mina adom ha'adom hazeh, and Yaakov answers him, Michra kayom et bechoratchan li. Sell me your birthright. Now, what is a birthright? The birthright is the right of the firstborn to inherit his father. The firstborn gets a double inheritance. Sell me your birthright means give up your inheritance of Yaakov, of Yitzchak. Okay? So, and Dafka, in that place where Yaakov said, sell me your birthright, what does it say about Esav? Esav says, Haleiteni na min ha'adom hazeh ki ayef anochi al ken kvad shmo Edom. This is the first place where Edom is mentioned. And Edom is mentioned in relation to the birthright, the inheritance of Yitzchak. But this is not where it took place. Esav and Yaakov are still brothers. We see in Parashat Vayishlach, Tfilat Yaakov, and his tefillah, he refers to Esav as his brother. Hatzileni na miad achi, miad Esav. And he sends the shlichim, and he says to them, when you bring the gift to Esav, ki yifgishecha Esav achi, when my brother Esav will meet you, this is what you should say to him. What does Esav say? What does it say according to Esav? Vayalot Esav likrato. Esav runs to him. Vayebchabkehu, vayipol al tzavora, vayishakehu, vayivku. Okay, now we all know the translation is, and he hugged him, and he fell upon his neck, and he kissed him, and they cried. Okay, this is a meeting of two brothers. Now Chazal go to town on this pasuk because they really don't like Esav. It couldn't possibly be that 20 years ago, Esav said, when my father dies, I'm going to kill my brother Yaakov. And now he's hugging him and kissing him and crying. Can't possibly be. It must be that he's not doing it full-heartedly. It must be that, or maybe at that last moment, his heart turned and he felt affinity for his brother Yaakov. And even the Medrash says that even when he was kissing him, it wasn't a kiss of love, it was a kiss of death. That Yaakov's neck turned into marble, and he broke his teeth, and he cried because his teeth hurt, was broken his neck. But Pshutosh Mikra. Okay, you all know the phrase Pshutosh Mikra, right? The pshat, the simple understanding is, this is a meeting of two brothers. And that's how the Rashbam and the Ibn Ezra explain this pasuk. The end explains the beginning. The fact that they hugged and they kissed and they cried together shows that when Esav came with his 400 men, he wasn't coming to war. He was coming to meet his brother. So we haven't seen yet the change between Esav to Edom. Okay, Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim. Yaakov sends his messengers to Achiv, brother, Arta Seir, Sedei Edom. Here we see already a mention of Edom. Edom is Har Seir. Edom is Har Seir. That's the dwelling place of Edom. Vayomer Esav, Yesh li Rav, Achi, my brother, Yelecha Asher lach. When he offers him, he says, no, you take it, my brother. So we still haven't seen the transition from Esav to Edom. When does the transition take place? Now, this is interesting. Vayigva Yitzchak vayamot, vayigberu oto Esav v'Yaakov banav. Okay, Yitzchak dies, and who buries him? Esav and Yaakov, his sons. They're still brothers at the burial. But the very next pasuk, here we are, Perek Lamed Hey, pasuk Kaf Tet. The very next pasuk, Perek Lamed Vav, pasuk Aleph, Ve'ele Toledot Esav Hu Edom. See the asterisk? Here's the transition. Yitzchak dies, and Esav, the brother, becomes Edom. And then it says, when they part after the meeting, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz bigurei aviv be'eretz Canaan, ele toledot Yaakov, the Tchilat Parshat Toledot. No, not Tchilat Parshat Vayeshev. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz bigurei aviv be'eretz Canaan. Yaakov is inheriting the inheritance of his father in Eretz Canaan. And then it talks about his Toledot, his generations. Vayeshev Esav, this is literary, okay? Vayeshev Esav Bahar Seir. Esav hu Edom. Ve'ele Toledot Esav Avi Edom Bahar Seir. There's no connection between Toledot Yitzchak and Esav. Esav now is Edom, and all of his Toledot are Edom, and they live in Har Seir, and they don't live in Har Canaan, and this is the separation between Esav and Edom. Nice? Okay.
I have a question.
Now, I promised that I would, yeah.
If Edom is in Rome, then does that mean that Esau had to go across the ocean, the Mediterranean, to get to his land?
Okay. I'll tell you the secret. Edom is not Rome. Chazal want to make the connection between Esav and Rome. But the nation of Edom was destroyed. And we see that it was destroyed. The reason why Chazal want to make the connection between Esav and between Edom and Rome is because they lived in Galut Roma. And so they want to make that connection and continue the prophecies about the destruction of Edom and put them onto the nation of Rome, which will eventually become Christianity, okay, and the whole Western world. Okay, but essentially, if we're talking about nations, the Plishtim and the Moavim and the Ammonim and the Hittim and the Tzidonim and the Edomim, that nation of Edom no longer exists. Okay, so it's not that they went in ships.
Was it originally?
It's just not Edom.
Istanbul was? Because that's where Christianity started in whatever they called Istanbul in those days. Constantinople, right?
Yeah, okay. But we won't know from the map that Edom is in the south, right? And where is Constantinople or Turkey? It's in the north. It's above Sidon. You have Sor Sidon, and okay, you have northern Turkey is where they have that. So it can't be Edom. They're not there. They're in the southeast in relation to Eretz Canaan. Okay, so I promised you handy tools for studying the Tanakh. I planned for this to happen at 9:15 to give you a chance to use this handy tool to see another passage in the biblical text which talks about the meeting between Yisrael and Edom. And this is in Bamidbar, in Sefer Bamidbar, after the 40 years in the desert, we want to come into Eretz Yisrael, but we have several problems. We have some nations that are in the way. One of them, the first of which, is Edom, and then we have Sichon Melech, Melech HaAmori, and we have Og Melech HaBashan. But the first of the nations is Edom. We meet Edom on his border, and we ask to pass through the land of Edom. Do we have time to do this?
Go ahead, sure.
Or I'm going to finish at 9:30.
Yeah, it's fine. No, go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead, you can
Okay.
continue.
I'll show you this handy website for learning Tanakh. I think I need to do this, and I need to do, what do I also need to do? I think I need to do this. Wait a second. I need to do this, and I need to do this. I need to do that. And now I need to go into this website called Sefaria.
No Safaria.
Here we go, Sefaria. Okay, see this website, Sefaria? Wait, you don't see it yet because I haven't yet done Shituf Masach. Okay, so here. Now we'll do share screen, and here we go. This is the website called Sefaria. Look at this great website. See the Samech? The Samech is for Sefaria. Look at this great website. This is the entire Jewish library at your fingertips on the internet. If you look through the books in Sefaria, you have the Tanakh in its entirety. You have all the Medrashim. You have a Sidur. You have the Shas Mishnayot, Talmud Bavli, Sifrei Kabbalah, Halacha, Kol Sifrei Machshevet Yisrael. Scroll down. You want to look at Parshat Shavua? Click. Haftarah? Click. Daf Yomi? Click. Rambam Yomi? Click. Okay, you have also, according to topic, you can look up Hagim, Arachim, Mitzvot, Sipurim, Dmuyot, Sugiot. But you're saying, wait a second, my Hebrew is not that great. I can't do this. Okay, so then what you do, what you do, okay, let's just pick a book. Oops, what did I do here? Messed it up here. Do it again. Okay, let's just pick a book. Okay, Tanakh, Sefer Bereshit. Okay, here we go. The beginning of Sefer Bereshit. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Okay, but hine, my Hebrew is not that good. What can you do? So you take your mouse and you go up to the corner. It says Aleph A, and you do this. Hello, when God began to create the heaven and the earth. You have the whole thing in English. And if you're learning Hebrew, here's a handy tip. You could do Aleph Bet together. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et when God began again. Okay, you go through the whole Torah, okay, with both. If you don't like that structure, you can change the structure. You could have them side by side. Okay, so here you have the entire Tanakh at your fingertips. What we want to do is I want to get out of, first of all, I want to get out of the Hebrew, the English, because I don't do well in English. I want to go to, let me move this screen here, move the screen. I want to go to Sefer Bamidbar. So I scroll down to here, Sefer Bamidbar. I want to be in, first of all, I want it in Hebrew, because I like Hebrew. I want to be in Perikaf. Scroll down. Here's Perikaf. I want to be in Sefer Bamidbar, Perikaf, Pasuk, Yud Daled. Scroll down. Why do I not see the psukim? Perikaf. Why do I not see the psukim? Because your faces are in the way. Here we go. Yudalid, Vayishlach Malachim. Here's my Here is my paragraph that I want. Yudalid. Okay? Let's read it, English, Hebrew, side by side. I can't see the numbers. Wait a second. Yudalid, where are the numbers?
Just scroll up a little bit.
Here we go. Okay. Vayishlach Moshe Malachim. What I was planning to do is I was planning to split this group up into rooms, and each room can answer the question on this particular passage. It's a very important question. We saw two aspects of Edom. We saw the aspect of the brother and the aspect of the nation. And I wanted you to see if both of these aspects we see in this particular portion. So it says, "Vayishlach Moshe malachim mikadesh al melech Edom, kol amar achicha Yisrael, ata yadata et kol hatelaa asher matatanu, vayirdu avotenu Mitzrayma, v'neikshe b'Mitzrayim yamim rabim, vayareu lanu Mitzrayim v'lavotenu, v'nitzak el Adonai v'yishma kolenu, v'yishlach malach, v'yotzeenu miMitzrayim, v'hine anachnu b'kadesh ir ketzei v'ulecha." Here's the request. Nabarana be'artzecha. Let us pass in your land. Lo na'avor b'steu v'cheren. We won't go into the fields or into the vineyards. V'lo nishtei mei be'er. We won't drink from your wells. Derech hamelech nilech. We'll walk straight. Lo niteh yamin u'smal. We won't go to the right or to the left. Ad asher na'avor gvulecha. Until we get to the other side. Vayomer el Rabbi Dov. Lo ta'avor bi ki becher v'ytzei likvatecha. Can't go. I'm going to come out to war against you. Try again. Vayomeru elav b'nei Yisrael b'mitzilana aleh. We'll go straight. V'im meimecha nishtei ani u'miknai v'natati michram. If we drink from the water, from your water, either our flocks or wheat, so we'll pay for it. Rock. Ein davar, baragalai avora. No, it's not a big deal. We're just walking through. Vayomer lo ta'avo, vayetze Edom likrato, v'am keved u'v'yad chazaka. You will not pass. And Edom went out to meet him with a tremendous army, and same thing as they say in Mitzrayim, yad chazaka, kind of great might. V'me'en Edom natan et Yisrael avor b'gvulo, v'yet Yisrael me'alav. So Edom refused to let Yisrael pass through his land, and Yisrael went around. Okay, so from what we learned, do you see these two aspects of Esav, the aspect of brother and the aspect of nation?
Like brothers who are fighting each other.
First of all, what does Moshe say? Vayishlach Moshe malachim b'kadesh al melech Edom ko amar achicha Yisrael. Thus says your brother Israel. And he starts the whole story. Okay? And what does Moshe suggest, seeing that no one is caught on to this? What does Moshe suggest? Moshe suggests, first of all, after the whole history of coming out of Egypt, he suggests that we'll just pass through. We'll just pass through, and we won't drink, we won't eat, we'll just pass through. We won't go to the right or to the left or pass through. And Edom says no. Okay? Next, what does Bnei Yisrael say? Vayomer elav b'nei Yisrael b'mitzilana aleh. Mimecha nishtei. If we drink, we'll pay for it. Just let us go by. Okay, so if your brother
Why does it say
comes
brother?
for
Why does Moshe
if your brother comes for yefeh, that's the question. Moshe Rabbeinu is presenting Esav or Edom as we are brothers. When your brother comes to visit for Shabbos, Does he pay for the food? Does he pay for the lodging? No. We won't take anything. We'll go for free. Okay? But if you have someone come and stay in your tzimmer, do they pay for the food? Do they pay for the lodging? Bnei Yisrael say, let us go through. We'll pay. Okay? So Moshe is relating to the aspect of, we are brothers. Let us go through because we are brothers. And Bnei Yisrael realize that Esav is not relating to us as brothers. We said, we are brothers. And he said, no, I'm going to come out and kill you. And so Bnei Yisrael said, okay, we're not brothers. Let us through as a nation. If we drink, we'll pay for it. If our camels, if our sheep, they drink, we'll pay for the water. Just let us go through. And even that is not enough. Even as a nation, Esav came to fight against Israel. Okay, so here we are, wrapping up. What did we learn today? Anyone want to say?
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Can I ask? Yeah, what happened with Shlomo HaMelech when he married the daughter of Paro? And from that time, there's a Midrash that says that Rome was created. So is that so? And that's Edom. Do we understand that it's meaning that refers to Galut Edom, but not the nation of Edom that we're talking about now?
It says Rome was created.
Yes.
Edom wasn't created. Edom was created long before. There was already Edom in times of Shlomo HaMelech.
So it means that it refers more to the Galut of.
Just remember, it's Divrei Chazal. Divrei Chazal, they're full of Edom. They don't like Edom. Edom is Rome. Rome is the enemy. Rome needs to be destroyed ultimately. In order for Israel to have the Geula, right? That for the Mashiach to come, Rome has to be gone. And so Rome is Edom. But according to Pshuto Shvikra, Edom is Edom. But this is Divrei Chazal.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, wrap it up.
Maybe could I ask another question about
Please.
Har Seir? So before we go
what?
into what
What was that?
about Har Seir?
Oh, Har Seir. Yeah. Okay.
Har Esav. Okay, so
Yeah.
before Yishtabach in the tefillah of the morning, before Yishtabach, we have
Yefei. A nevuah, the destruction of Edom. Yefei. Good. But that pasuk in the tefillah comes from the Nevi'im. And the Nevi'im are actually talking about Edom. And we are using our tefillah to talk about Roma. Who put it in the tefillah? Ante Knesset Gedolah. Okay? So they're using the pasuk in the Nevi'im, which talk about Edom, the destruction of Edom, and they put it in the tefillah to talk about the destruction of Rome.
Okay, so is it Va'alu Moshi'im
Har Tzion, Shmona Vayisav, Vahayta Hashem Lamlucha. Ken, nechon. That's from Sefer Ovadia.
So that's what's going to be in the future, right? That Hashem Lamelech Yom Echad.
Well, when the prophet said it, he wasn't talking about 2,000 years in the future. When the prophet said it, he was talking about the near future. He was talking about the Edom in his time. But when Chazal took that pasuk and put it in the tefillah, they were talking about 2,000 years in the future, maybe not 2,000 years, as soon as possible in the future. But they weren't talking about the nation of Edom that is mentioned in the Tanakh. You understand the relationship? Once again, we have to put the prophet into his historical context. First and foremost, the prophet is talking to his generation. And if his generation is suffering from Edom, we want to see the destruction of Edom. Okay? So Ovadia, who is talking about the destruction of Edom, is talking about his generation. What generation that is, that's going to be the second to last shiur. Okay? That's where we put Ovadia in the timeline of the Tanakh. But that pasuk of Ovadia, Chazal take it and use it for our generation.
So that's from Ovadia. What we say in the tefillah is from Ovadia.
It's the last pasuk. It's the last pasuk in Sefer Ovadia.
I didn't even know that. As far as I'm concerned, we're not going to get that far because we're going to finish with Edom before the last shiur. No?
I hope so. Let's see the Mashiach very soon.
You
Okay,
wanted to know what
so
we
let's do
learned
something.
today?
Wait a second. I got one more thing. Okay, Rega, let me just do the share screen. One last thing. Okay. So you see this. Where am I? My activities. You see it? You with me? Do you see the thing?
Mhm.
Do you see this?
Yes.
Okay. This is our quiz. Any brave souls want to do the quiz?
Sure.
Okay. Sipora, you got guts. It's not really very hard. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, first question. Oh wait, I have to give you your mouse, okay? You don't have a mouse yet. Just a second. Let me give you your mouse. Let me look for
Got
Tzipora.
the mouse?
Wait, you got the mouse? Here's
Got the
Tzipora.
mouse. Yes, I
Okay,
do.
now you have a mouse. Go ahead. The book of Ovadia is found in,
Nevi'im Rishonim. The book of Ovadia is found in the Nevi'im Rishonim.
oh, you have to click it.
The first prophets
No.
and this
The Chumash,
last
the
one.
Nevi'im Rishonim, Ktubim, Transar, or Apocrypha.
Pardon?
I'm just reading it. Is it the
Yeah.
Chumash, the Nevi'im Rishonim, the Ktubim, the Transar, or the Apocrypha?
Yes,
I wouldn't say it's apocrypha. I don't know what
Definitely not.
Treyasar is. It's not the writings.
Triasa.
Okay, take a guess. Go ahead. You have to click it. You have to click it with the mouse. Did you click it? There you go. Very good. Next question. In relation to Canaan, Eretz Canaan, the land of Edom is located in the northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, or center.
I think,
Remember the map?
but I don't know which one.
South.
Remember the map?
Let's see.
Southeast.
No.
Southeast. Okay.
Okay.
Here we
I
go.
answered
Next
it
one.
just right.
Ovadia the prophet is significant because he performed great miracles. He taught Torah to the masses. He lamented the destruction of the Holy Temple. He prophesied about the destruction of Edom, or he fought against the false prophets. What made him significant?
D.
Let's see if this is right.
Very good. Good job. Next, what distinction can be made between Esav and Edom? Is it between a brother and a foreign nation? There's no distinction at all? Is it between the north and the south? Or is it between good and evil?
Oh, boy.
Very good.
The
Okay.
glass is half full and half empty.
Okay, so that's wrapping up for this week. Next week, we have a what do you call it? An assignment. In the next lesson, we will begin. You see this? In the next lesson, we will begin our in-depth study of the book of Ovadia. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of Ovadia. We're going to start reading the Psukim, analyzing the Psukim, what's called exegesis, getting into the book of Ovadia itself. So, if you want to be ready, I suggest you just skim through those 21 verses, just to be familiar with the book of Ovadia. And next week, we'll get into it. Okay? That is your homework for next Wednesday.
Of course, we could
Thank
use some
you.
Maria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I had a great time.
Excellent. Thank you.
And fun is good, right, Judy?
Good.
Okay, the words of Dr. Seuss, fun is good.
So,
Okay, I'll see you next week. Take care.
Ciao,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.